can it be seen non-self? Can the I, as it were, drop out of the view, maybe temporary, it's a practice, remember, to drop out of the view, and instead of I am sitting here, if we take the body, for example, or this is my body, therefore the world of I, can the world, the selflessness, the non-self, be such that the perception is there is body sitting here? There are the elements here. There is organic life here. There is organic life there. So rather than saying, oh, this is my iRiver recorder, not iStream Enterer recorder, but iRiver recorder, and this is my microphone, and this is my shirt, or whatever, though useful and conventional in everyday parlance, but from the standpoint of reality, from the reality, there is not a single indication in this or in this that this is mine. There is nothing in the elements to show this is mine. Not a thing. So the Buddha's Dharma acknowledges the conventional, the world of I and my. It's not to negate it. It's not a teaching of there is no self. It's not in the Dharma teaching at all. But to have a perception in which the primary perception is this, in this case we're taking the forms here, form of the body, the form of the recorder, the form of the camcorder, seeing it free from the I and the my, because there's nothing to show I and my in the form. And the learning to see in that way, as a practice for us, helps to soften, so that in the softening of the I and the my, there's a more relaxed view around it, and therefore it can change, it can even go, it can appear different from what it was without causing a lot of anguish and pain. Wherever we have a lot of anguish and unhappiness and distress, fear and anger, the only reason for it to arise is due to an excessive degree of I and my. It's not possible without an exaggeration of the I and the my. So if, for example, take the simple object of the recorder here, if I have a very strong holding, this is mine, here, and don't you dare touch it, and it's only going to have my fingerprints on it, and one of you get up and mindfully or walk across and crush it, and those 200 talks which the Dharma has received, which are on here, and it's finished, and I have a strong sense of I and my, I'm going to be pretty mad with the person who unmindfully trod on my recorder. But if I understand deep down that there's just a convention, but I haven't got a possessiveness, controlling, holding on to view about it, the view which will arise much more easily, this just happens. These things happen. And it's rather like the often repeated story in India of the man sitting in his office who received a telephone call that his house at number 34 was on fire. So the response is, my house, my home, oh my God. And he's racing down there, hails the taxi, jumps in, then on his mobile, he's nearly at home, and then he said, my house is on fire, my God, those stupid neighbours, what has happened? And he gets halfway to home and he gets another mobile phone message. It's not your house. Oh, it's not my house. Oh, those people next door, they probably left the fire on, they left the gas on, etc., etc. And all the anger and the tension has gone out. Oh, it's not mine. And then he gets near the place, he sees all the fire engines. Oh, God, it is my house. And the whole relationship to the way of viewing is all bound up, whether it's mine or not mine. And Dharma teachings are an encouragement to see things as they change, as they become, in such a way that we lower the temperature of the I and the my. And this is a new, it's a kind of, not new, but a teaching of selflessness, a teaching of non-self, a teaching that things are just in process. So just as that view is taken with regard there, also and equally with the feelings and our emotional life. And we know how easily, how extraordinary the emotional life and the feelings that arise with it. And once again, fine and appropriate to use the language of I there. However, in looking without putting the I so strongly into it, then in our connecting and exploration of these are feelings which are arising. These are feelings which are being experienced. These are feelings which I was experiencing and now have gone away. And that is dropping out of the language and the view and the interpretation, the world of I and my, which often places pressure on us anyway, and learning just to feel what the feeling is. And this exploration of the feeling life is a vitally important one, but we have to watch very carefully with this, again, particularly in the cultural times that we live in, that human beings are not all the same. And rather unfortunately, there is a lot of, I think sometimes exaggerated pressure in the language of the heart. Those people who are unfortunate enough to write books, the last 5, 10, 15 years or so, you would almost guarantee that if you wrote a book, a spiritual book or psychotherapy book, and you had the word heart in it, it would sell several hundred copies because it had the word heart in it. But if you use the word head, there'd be no interest. Heart, everything's about the heart, the heart, the heart, the heart, the heart there. The actuality is we're all different. And in the Dharma, the word citta, C-I-T-T-A, I think, embraces heart and head simultaneously. And what happens is there's a kind of prejudice towards the heart, those with heart. You know, Jack Cornfield had this mega seller. He's a very dear friend of mine. He'll forgive me, but he probably won't for saying this. Called A Path with Heart. You know, it sold, you know, mega numbers. You know, if it was A Path with Head, it would never have had very much appeal. But you've got the word heart in, you can't go wrong with it. And I said to him, I was thinking of writing a book, no path and no heart, but anyway. So there's the world of the heart, but people are different. And sometimes those with heart, you know, the so-called feeling types, that means the I lands with the feelings more than it lands with the thought, or more it lands with, have got a little bit of ego around it. And a little bit of egos, you know, they're a very heartful person. very warm-hearted, very nice and very kind, and they feel and very very sensitive. And other people whose mind is more developed. Perhaps the person is an academic. Perhaps the person is an interpreter or a translator, or is engaged in a lot of analysis, or is an accountant, or whatever it might be. Oh, those poor people. They're stuck in their head. You know, they're just intellectuals. You know, I mean, they're just really, you know, pathetic. You know. But we people of the heart, and it's a kind of racism, isn't it? You know, they put down the intellectuals, you know, etc., and just have, you know, heart people there. And rather than seeing what really is, the eye has landed in the heart, and it's there, and it feels good. And for others, if their eye has landed in the thought and in reason and in analysis and in interpretation or whatever, then that gets rubbished. It gets dismissed, and it's not allowing for the diversity.